Hey, it's Ben. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm sharing my free unsolicited advice that can genuinely lighten your load. Are you walking around with a heavy emotional backpack? Unprocessed pain, loss, transition, disappointment, or burnout weighing you down? Most of us carry more than we realize. I'm going to be sharing with you today the process of debriefing, a practical way to unpack that weight. It's valuable for Christians and non-Christians alike. I'm going to walk you through the steps, but I'm going to especially focus on where Jesus is in the middle of your story, plus my best free unsolicited advice if you are struggling. Life comes at us fast. Job changes, broken relationships, moves, crises, parenting marathons, or just the grind of recent years. Without processing, the weight accumulates and affects our sleep, relationships, decisions, even our joy. Debriefing is an intentional pause to tell your story. Name the impacts, gain perspective, and release what's too heavy. It's not therapy, though it does pair well with it. Research on trauma and transitions shows us that unprocessed experiences can drain us. Debriefing restores capacity and brings freedom. Even secular versions help, but the deepest healing often happens when we invite Jesus into our story. I want you to imagine that you're hiking with a backpack full of useful gear, plus rocks you've collected, betrayals, grief, unmet expectations, hidden shame, even exhaustion. You've carried it so long, you've stopped noticing how much it slows you down. Debriefing gives you the opportunity to take those rocks out of the backpack, examine them, process them, and leave them behind, and get back to your journey a lot lighter. You might be familiar with the story of the road to Emmaus in the Bible. It was after Jesus had died, when still some of his disciples didn't know that he had risen from the dead. Two of his disciples were walking down a 7-mile road to a small village called Emmaus. And then suddenly, Jesus appeared with them, but they didn't recognize him. And instead of coming down and trying to solve all the problems, Jesus just asked them what they were talking about. He was available to listen to them, to hear about their disappointments. See, he wasn't there to fix the problem. He was just there to listen. And that's the first step in the debriefing process. Find someone to walk with you. Create a safe space with a trusted listener. Tell your full story to them. Share the facts, highs, lows, and even confusing parts, without edits. Naming these things organizes the chaos in your mind. The second step is to name the impact of those experiences that you've had. How did this season affect you both externally and internally? Sometimes it's easier to name the external impact of the loss, but the internal impact, that can be harder to name. Spend some time today thinking about it and name the losses. Additionally, think through, what are the spiritual impacts of those losses? In John 10:10, Jesus says that the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy, but he came to bring life, and bring life in abundance. What is the enemy trying to steal, kill, and destroy in your job, your family, your ministry? Or the other way of looking at it is, how are you not living the abundant life that God has for you? The third step, and the heart of it all, is this question. How do you need to experience Jesus in the midst of your story? Here's where the transformation happens. Invite Jesus right into your story with you, not as a distant figure, but as somebody who's walking right with you, like he was with his disciples on the road to Emmaus. He's not shocked or in a hurry. He's with you in every detail. You can experience him in powerful personal ways depending on what you're carrying. Here are 3 meaningful options to consider. First, experience him as your sin bearer. As it says in John 1:29, Jesus is the Lamb of God who takes away the sins of the world. Bring him your own failures, your regrets, your shame, the things you've done, and also bring him the sins committed against you, the betrayal, injustices, or the harm that others inflicted. He died to carry all of that on the cross, so let him carry it. You could say, Jesus, I give you the guilt of this wound. You paid for it. Handing over both what we have done and what has been done against us can be incredibly freeing. Secondly, you can experience him as the pain bearer. Isaiah 53:1-6 describes the suffering servant who was pierced for our transgression and crushed for our iniquity. He bore our griefs and carries our sorrows. If your story includes deep pain, loss, trauma, or prolonged suffering, invite Jesus as the one who understands the suffering better than anyone. Picture him taking those specific pains onto himself. You don't have to carry them alone anymore. And finally, do you need to hear God declaring you as his beloved son or his beloved daughter. Remember Jesus' baptism in Luke 3:21 and 22, when the Father spoke over his son Jesus. He said, "You are my beloved son. I am well pleased with you." And he said that before Jesus did any of his public ministry, before he did any miracles, before he did any teachings. He wasn't God's beloved son because of work that he did. He was God's beloved son because, well, he was his son. It was his identity. Do you need to hear the Father say that over you today? Regardless of your wins, your productivity, or your ministry success, but simply because you are his? Regardless of your losses, your failures, your seasons of burnout, you are still his beloved child. Let those words sink in. You are my beloved son. You are my beloved daughter. I am pleased with you. This identity heals performance-based striving and restores rest to your soul. Whichever way, or multiple ways, fits best your story, be honest with him. This encounter turns your debrief from a simple reflection into deep soul restoration. Now we are ready for the final step, our response. Jesus often brings fresh perspective. Lies get replaced with truth. Grief with hope. And the season that you walked through, it looks very different as a result of him being with you in it. So the most important question is, how do you want to respond? How do you want to respond to Jesus specifically right now? Maybe release the specific sin or pain. Receive his declaration as his beloved child. Forgive someone. Choose rest. Recommit to what matters. Or simply say, Jesus, I want more of you. Write it down or speak it out loud. It might seem small, but it might be just what you need to walk forward, lighter and with renewed strength. If you're carrying a heavy weight, burnout, trauma, grief, or just feeling stuck, here's my free unsolicited advice for you. Don't carry it alone. Reach out to a counselor, pastor, or trained debriefer today. Start small this week. Block quiet times to walk through telling part of your story and naming those impacts. Invite Jesus into your story using one of the 3 ways I listed above, even if it feels awkward at first. Protect basic rhythms. Sleep, worship, prayer, community. The backpack can feel lighter when your body and soul aren't exhausted. You're not weak for needing this. Wise people regularly unload so that they can move forward stronger. Life is too short to carry unnecessary weight. Try this process and see what shifts. Comment below. What's one thing that you're ready to name or hand over? I read the comments and pray for you all. If this encourages you, like, subscribe, and type debrief so that I know to create more content like this. And just remember, you're not walking alone. We'll see you in the next one. Before we go, I just wanted to let you know that throughout this summer, a portion of any donations this channel receives will be given to nonprofits that support families walking through cancer. If you'd like to get involved or support the cause, the link will be in the description box below.